In this video, I'm going to fix up the song of a new producer named Ryan. Upon joining my community, Ryan sent me a few of his songs requesting my feedback on them, and one of these gems stuck out to me, so I requested the project file. I'm going to play this song back for you, and then break down the cool little things we are going to fix up in this video to make this song sound professional. And then we'll send it back to Ryan and hope he likes it. Let's play it. This is awesome. Some nice deep house. Nice. So as you can hear, the song's an absolute vibe, but it's missing one key thing, and that is there's no bass. There's a kick, but there's no bass. Also, this genre is very drum driven, and if we listen to the drums, they're okay, but the kick is a little weak in the mix. So I'm going to add bass to this song in 3 steps. For the first step, we're going to clean up this project. It's a little messy, so adding bass to this as is would not be that fun. And then for steps 2 and 3, we're going to try 2 different basses and see which bass makes the song sound better. So let's get started. Step 1, like I said, is to clean this track up and get it ready for bass. On a quick listen, just a very loose mix. The kick is tiny. If we play just the percussion, that kick is really thin. It has no dominance in this mix at all. In a club track like this, or any type of club track, the kick is everything. Let's investigate the kick a little more. Notice how the tail of this kick kind of tapers off, and it's really big up front here. When I play the kick, all I could hear is the attack, but I can't hear the tail because it tapers off. So I can either add a bunch of plugins to this kick and try to make it look and sound the way that I want, or we'll just get him a new kick that I know always works. We'll slide it in here. And look at that. See how round it is? About a half a beat long, which is what I want as well. And so now if we play this kick back to back with the original kick, see the difference? And if you look at the levels, they're the same volume, but you can't even hear one. So now when this song plays at every festival in the world, the kick will sound like it's supposed to be there. Let's investigate the other stuff. He has a very nice, gloomy, melancholic set of chords. Pretty good, huh? Pretty deep. They're nice chords. They're voiced well, but something I noticed with this song is that he has a melody, and then another melody, and then another melody, and then another melody. I'm going to find a nice balance for these melodies so that they don't clash. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so before step 2, here is the balance that I'm going to go with. Hear that kick? It is so ready for bass. As for the melodies, I like this one the most, so I'm going to keep it out front. It reminds me of this song. People love that type of lead. For step 2, we're going to add a sustained bass. This is the most mellow, straightforward bass style that you could have. To make a sustained bass, it's very straightforward. You use the root note of each chord in the progression. So the first bass note's going to be a G sharp, second one's going to be a B, F sharp, and then C sharp minor, or C sharp. So I'm just going to copy them from our chords here. I like his inversions. And then paste them on our new synth track. Now Ryan has Serum 1, so I'm going to use Serum 1 to make this bass sound. Serum is a VST wavetable synth. To make the easiest, most straightforward bass, you initialize the preset. Don't touch anything except this filter here. We're going to turn it on, tighten it up, and just focus it on the low frequencies here. So only the low frequencies get passed. That's why they call this filter type a low pass filter. So then we get this sound. And that doesn't sound much like a bass, does it? It's because it's not in the right octave for bass. We're going to go down an octave and listen. Sounds like a bass, right? Nah, it's still a little high. For the best bass, you want to pick an octave where the strongest frequencies of the bass sound are hitting between 40 and 80 hertz consistently. And that looks good. Let's test our bass with our melody group. It's gorgeous. These sounds are so well placed, you don't even have to do any EQing to them. Look at that, there's no EQing, and look at all the space they're leaving for our bass. Gorgeous. But before I release this bass into the wild, you have to get it sitting right with the kick. Because if we just leave it like this, right now, the sub-frequencies of the kick are clashing with this bass sound. It's making a little bit of a fuzzy noise. Mud like that is amplified when the song gets played at some of the biggest festivals and clubs in the world. So we have to fix that before the song leaves the studio. I'm going to add my favorite sidechaining plugins called Kickstart 2. You could create a sidechain with native plugins within your DAW, but you have less control over how that sidechain acts. So I like to use a dedicated LFO style plugin. Now we can hear the bass ducking away every time the kick happens, which means we're getting two effects that we need in our song. The first is obviously we're separating the kick and bass frequencies so they're not going to compete. The second is that pumping effect that the bass has. That adds a lot of groove to the song. Without it, a sustained bass like this is just boring and static in the song. So you play around with it, see what the song likes. Do we want a big pump like this? Or a quick one? Then you bring in your other instruments and let it rip. Ooh. Very nice. Here it is alone again. Very simple, pure sub. It's just a cut off saw waveform. Let's move to the last step, which is a rhythmic bass. Anytime you have a deep rooftop track like this, you gotta try the rhythmic bass. And for this rhythmic bass, since our melody already has a lot of rhythm, which is this one, I'm going to build this bass based on that rhythm. So I'm basically just going to copy that rhythm. So we'll take the same bass sound, but I'll do a dotted eighth note rhythm that resolves every half bar. And to make a dotted eighth note, you start with an eighth note and then add 50% of its size to itself. And once you have the rhythm, you just duplicate it. But we have another issue. Our original bass sound has no dynamics. It's just a flat sound, so we can't hear the nice dotted eighth note rhythm. Let's go ahead and make a new bass sound. For this bass sound, we're going to take an empty envelope and create what I call a filter-controlled sound. So we're going to wrap this cutoff knob and tell this envelope to open and close that knob at a high rate of speed so that we get a plucked sound. So I'm going to close the sustain and we get something like this. We can warm it up too. Lengthen it. I like when plucked basses crash into the next note. Like this. Like this will fill the headphones more. As always, I'm going to sidechain it so that it communicates well with the kick. I'm going to test it with the drums first. This is the whole song, we don't need anything else. I mean, it's gorgeous. What if we just hear it with one lead? And you know, like, if a bass already sounds like that with just one of your instruments playing, it's going to sound awesome. What about this melody? I'm vibing. He has this really cool stutter vocal. It's just amazing. I mean, you can take this song any direction. Let's see what this bass sounds like in the mix. You know, I'm testing a big instrument. I like to listen to the transition. What do you guys think? Go rhythmic bass, right? And what's cool is this song, because we cleaned up the mix and picked a bass for it, stands up to other professional songs in the industry. Here's Salt and Shepherd. And here's ours. Ooh. Forget it. So that's the rhythmic bass. I think I like that more than the sustained. Let's test the sustained one more time. Oh, this one's good too. This one's mellow. So many people would listen to this song. Here's a little reaction for you. He said, the song sounds fire. He loves how the bass sounds, totally fixes the drop, and then he requested if I could send him back the project file, which of course I am. That's a video for you. If you would like my help one-on-one, check the links below this video. And as always, stay tuned for the next video lesson.